Hello friends, now I will tell you some value of directories as information sources. For example, when you require a person's information, so what you will do first? So you will look for his contact address, or he will look for his telephone number so that you can get in touch with him. Now, these kind of informations are available in some specialized information sources. Or for example, you want to go to a place. Now we know all that Google Maps are available. Now you want to find out details of that place, which is the nearby roads, airports, which are how you will reach there, those kind of instructions, informations. So these type of information also are available, and that is a specialized information source that is called directories. Now we will listen today in this presentation that how directories are helpful as information sources, what are the different types of directories available, and some examples of these directories along with their helpfulness or user friendliness. Now when you see directories as information sources, by definition directory is a book listing names and addresses of people and organization. Now here it is clearly showing that if you want to locate a person and rather trying to contact a person in an organization or on an individual basis, so directory is the sources. We all know of Tata Yellow Pages, it used to publish earlier, or we contact MTNL helpline to know the number of another person's telephone number of another person's. So these are basically directory type of information. Directories are also very important reference tool in the library to locate different organizations, persons, contacts or different business houses. So plenty of time we see that people coming to library to refer different kind of directories. Maybe they want to start a research project, so they want to know some name of some scientists in that organization, or want to start some kind of business, so they want to know who all are major players in this business, what type of activities they do. So all these informations you can find from a different from a directory. Different types of directories are available, that will come later on. Directories are of many types, of which telephone directories are most common, and we all are quite aware of that. Now here you can see directories are available both in printed format as well as in online form. Now when you see printed format directory, so that is Boyd's directory, I have given you an example, or maybe Tata Yellow Pages, or maybe MTNL's directory. So all these are printed directories we used to see. Nowadays the trend has changed a lot because of advent of internet as a platform. So people basically use more of a online directories, or they directly telephone the exchange and find out details of directory type of information from different personalities. Here I have shown that Google is a place, or yellowpage.com, yahoo.com, MSN, there are so many varieties of directory type of information available on the site, and anybody can log into these sites and can find out whatever information directory type of information they want. So online directories are getting more and more popular day by day. Directories are of different types: telephone directory, topographical directory, professional directories, organizational directories, business and trade directories. So we will discuss one by one on each of them. Now when you come to telephone directories, every city in a country has a telephone directory. Primarily every individual who have subscribed to telephone, or maybe on mobile phone, whatever way. So they are recorded as against a personal name, against the number. So, this is how telephone directories are maintained. They are alphabetically normally arranged, giving information about telephone numbers of subscribers. Getting such information is very easy if you consult that kind of directory. Now, contact addresses are available, their telephone numbers are available from telephone directories. These directories are usually compiled by private players as well as post telegraph departments or the telephone exchange itself. These directories are location specific. As I have told, the telephone directories basically is a centralized source of information for every city. In some cases you will find that even resident welfare association, they bring out telephone directories to locate every individual against that locality. Some examples you can see that telephone directories. MTNL Delhi directory is a telephone directory of Delhi from Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, and the directory is now available online. Anybody can log into this site and put the name of the person. If that person has subscribed to MTNL telephone, you will immediately get his number as well as the addresses. India Telephone Directory of BSNL is another important tool to get in touch with people. Now, while MTNL covers Delhi zone only, BSNL has a wide coverage across country. This directory is also available online, and you can find your information whatever way you want from this online site as well. Now, this is another example, India.com Yellow Pages. Like we used to have Tata Yellow Pages. So, there are n number of public or private players, they are also bringing out some or the other type of telephone directories. However, in each of these cases, these directories are location specific. So, here you will find that whenever you are opening this online page of India.com, so you will find that they are asking which city information you want. Then you put the business name you want to search, the person's name you want to search. So, they will give you a large number of subscribers name from which you can select your persons, or also you can go through the alphabetically arranged directory listing from which you can select the person whom you want to contact. So, this way telephone directories are very helpful both online and printed form. Now, this is one example of a within the organization like Power Grid Corporation of India, that is a government organization. Similarly, VAIL, or rather every organization like my organization TERI, they also have telephone directories. So, here each employee names, against them whatever telephone is issued or along with their extension numbers are mentioned. So, basically whenever you want to contact a person, these are normally not always given in public form, but in academic institution, in most of the cases you will find telephone directories are given in public forum, online available, like IITs, like different universities. So, they also put their different faculties or their details name in the along with their telephone number in the telephone directory itself, where people can join contact them easily. The next type of directory is topographical directory. Topographical directories are directories of towns, cities, regions of a country. Now, as the name suggests, topography is basically a graphical presentation of any specific area. So, directory of cities, towns, regions in India lists states and union territories where their topographical information linked with the graphical representation are available in these directories. Under each state, the directory provides alphabetical list of cities, and when you go to these cities, it will break into different subsector of the cities, and you can select any region or even a local place of that city and find out their topographical information from these directories. Information given under each town or city includes their population, longitude, latitude, elevation, location, how to reach there, what is the nearby places, and many other kind of. So, some example you can see when we search such topographical directory for Connaught Place, India. So, it is basically graphically presenting Connaught Place, giving its latitude, longitude, altitude, time zone, population and weather chart, what are the nearby places, because normally whenever people search such type of information, they also want to know what are the nearby places. Probably tourists are also very interested to know what are the tourist attractive places or main monuments or some interesting places they can visit. So, that is why nearby places are mentioned, how far it is from airport, or if there is more than one airport, so then how far it is from all these airports. So, those kind of informations you will also find in a topographical directory. So, here is another type of directory which is organizational directory. Now, what happens in directories, every organization publish their own directory, employee listing as well as department wise listing, as well as in different universities you can find faculty wise listings. And if it is a organization where multiple locations are available, so multiple location has different type of separate directory. Each of this directory are distributed to their clientele or distributed to their employees for easy contacts, because these directories besides the board number also provide their extension numbers as well as their mobile numbers wherever available. In some cases you will also find the person's residential number, so that whenever you require to contact this person, it is easily available and it is a handy document. Normally organizational directories are very very small in number of pages and not a very thick document, easy to carry. Many organizations these days put such kind of organization directories available online. So, you log into their website, you will find that such directories are available. So, if you are a member of that organization, so you have to put some password there. So, you will be inside the directory. Some of the organizations also allow their organizational directory free for all. So, particularly academic institutes allow such free for all directories, rather business houses they do not allow such kind of things. In government ministries you will also find that secretaries or deputy secretaries as additional secretaries up to the under secretary level or sectional head level, you will find all of their numbers available in this organizational directory. Academic institutions, government ministries, any private or public sector organizations, they all have such organizational directories prepared. Under each of these academic institution, information what you will get, type of, when it is academic institution's directory, you will also find when you search that directory page. So, normally in the printed version you will find this kind of thing, that what type of courses are offered, what are the facilities available in that organizations. If you want to get admission to that courses, what are their eligibility criteria, name of the senior staff members, maybe in professor, associate professor, assistant professor. If it is a technical course, then technical staff, technical help, and such kind of detailed information you will find for each of the departments. These directories may be international or national in coverage. Now, international in coverage means, for example, a university who has multiple branches. Some of these branches are available overseas also. So, in that case, they will provide you international directories. And national coverage means organizations like IITs. So, they are basically nationally national organization, or maybe Amity University, that is national organization. Now, if Yale University today open a course here, or get in touch with another body here, so then they will be providing all staff members present or rather relevant to that particular courses who are sitting in US. So, their details you will be finding in this organizational directory along with their eligibility criteria, courses, facilities, all these details. Now, one example I am giving you, this is a very interesting example, directory of Indian environmental NGOs in India. Their publisher is WWF India. The WWF is World Wildlife Fund India. Now, in this directory, this is a huge, thick, voluminous directory normally available in print form. So, annual directory, annually they update it, contains more than couple of thousand NGOs names who are working in the area of environment. Now, this directory, why I have chosen it, because you can see that directories, organizational directories could also be a subject specialized directory, because here subject is environment. So, environmental NGOs who are operating. So, each of this page will contain the NGO names, their contact details, their mailing address, telephone, fax, email, their staff strength, activities performed, last year's financial details in brief. So, all this kind of information you will find. Basically, whenever anybody wants to get in touch with these NGOs for any kind of work, or maybe a collaborative research or collaborative social development study. So, whatever they want to do, so they will be scanning these pages and they can find out easily from this directory that who are to be contacted exactly in these organization and which organization should also be contacted. So, this type of information is quite helpful for a person who is initiating initiate collaborative research or that sort of. Europa World of Learning 2010, that is the 64th edition of this document, is an international directory. It lists over 30,000 academic institutions in higher education across the globe. Every type of academic institution is covered here. They are basically covered under country wise, and under that you will find universities and colleges there. What are the research institutions, museums, art galleries, learned societies, libraries, archives, and under each of these institution you will find their activities, their senior staff names, their location details, their whom to contact, sometimes PRO's names are also given. So, this way this Europa World of Learning opens up a information world for a person who wants to start anything overseas. In different exhibitions, you will find that exhibitors directories are also coming up. So, that is also international in nature, because international publishers come into publishers or maybe international organizations come into place in that organization, and you can find thousands of names in the business houses along with their activity details, contact person details are mentioned. So, there are several types of such kind of organizational directories are available. Now, this is a online USDA, that is Department of Agriculture of US government. So, they have categorized this agricultural department under several small subcategories, and under each categories you will find a organizational directory available. Now, this is United States Department of State Washington DC's directory. Here you will find that each of the person's name is given here along with their direct contact number. Some of these organizations, some of these state organizations are also given separately, this type of organizational directory separately. In India also you will find that NIC website, that under each ministry you will find similar sort of information available. Next thing is professional directory. Now, these directories are to some extent linked with the organizational directories as well. There are thousands of learned societies and associations in the world in almost every significant field of knowledge. For example, in the field of library science, you will find n number of societies in India as well as in abroad. IFLA being the most prominent society, there are multiple such societies like Special Library Association, American Library Association, even Indian Library Association, and so many, so forth. Now, they have members, each of these societies have members. Members of these associations are normally scholars and people who are studying, or rather who want to get in touch with these members, want to want their details. So, for that actually such type of societies or organizations, they prepare professional directories. These associations compile their member directories. Professional directories are very helpful in finding experts in different discipline. ATS directory of professional translator and interpreters. Now, here anybody wants to translation job done, so they can refer to this directory, or a person wants to contact to any of this professional, so they can directly get in touch with ATA professional directory and find information from them. Now, online if you see, this is normally a member directory looks like. Here you have to put the your membership details. Normally these membership directories are not open to public. You have to put your membership details there, and then you have to put the person or the state. This is also location specific. So, you have to put the state where or the country where he belongs to, and the discipline in which, if it is more than one discipline this particular member directory is catering to, then you have to put that particular discipline, and then you conduct a search. You will find details of that person along with his incumbency details and his expertise, everything. This is all professionals and organizational directories for pilots. Now, see, for example, airlines wants to contact or recruit some pilots. So, they can easily find list of pilots along with their contact details here. So, such type of very even in narrow field you will find professional directories exist. Church directory, so basically this gives you graphical presentation along with their details, their activities, how they can be conducted. Every details is available in church directory. Last type of directory that I will cover today is trade and business directory. Now, these directories provide information about trade, business and industries. Usually it provides industry profile. Industry profile means that information on each companies within that industry. Company information include date of incorporation of that company, statement of their objective, their financial summary, their activities, who are the major players, in which subject they are dealing. So, all these details. Many a times you find that such kind of business directories are available in website. Directories are always in this case location specific. Now, one of the most common example is Kothari Industrial Directory of India. So, this directory is annually published. This is a 40th edition. I have shown you, that is published in 1996 by Kothari Enterprises. This directory has two parts. While the first part gives you details of Indian economy, Indian industrial details like Indian stock exchange details, chamber of commerce, key statistics, all these details which industry professional will be requiring for his own reference. But the second part of this gives detailed coverage of different industries. So, each of this directory is basically divided into different industry specific way, under each industry you will find several alphabetically arranged industries, cement, chemical, in electronic industries and so on so forth. Under these electronic industries you will find details of each of these industries. Trade directories, like it could be a buy between two countries when you are going to do some trade. So, such kind of trade directories are also available where business is possible or trading is possible. Now, trade directory could be multiple countries also, where different product based trading is available. Some very specific directory on subject, like this is an example of jewelry sourcing directory. So, here you will find what are the different type of jewelries and who are basically manufacturing that and selling that. So, all these details one can find from this. These are another type of business directory where each of these areas are written alphabetically. When you click on each of these areas, so you will go into the agricultural directory, and like, or the air companies directories, or maybe IT sectors you can get into, and you can find out who all are the major players in this, so that you can start contacting them and initiate your business discussions. IndiaMart is another thing online available. This is a portal basically. However, it is a part of type of business directories where you can find similar type of things like Amazon's, Flipkart's also. So, they are also having same thing, like you are categorizing your products into different heads, and under that when you go you will find out each of this along with pictures you will find out. So, IndiaMart is also helping you. SME business, SMEs, that is small manufacturers, they are also subject specific discussions you will find, their listing you will find, as well as very location specific. These directories are city specific or location specific. So, you will find their information or the other contact information through these directories. So, in this particular session, what we have seen that the way one should find out locational information or the information where people can be contacted whenever you need any information regarding any organizations, or you want any professor to be contacted. So, directory is the source of information place, so you have to contact. Similarly, when you start a business, so basically you want to know major players in that area, so then business directory you have to consult. So, directory is a useful tool for our everyday life, or rather increasing our social connectivity in particular.